So first and foremost, if you think the slides or the talk is good, so you can share it, because the whole idea of giving lecture is to share the brilliant ideas of the design thoughts to more students or more practitioners for this. Okay? So yeah, let's wait for someone to take a seat before I start. Okay, thank you. So I'll start. So what does it mean for revisiting roots? So I always like to reflect back on my experience and where I came from and where I am now. So where I come from, I'm from a little town called Cheras in Kuala Lumpur. Yeah, it's little. So 20 or 30 years back, 20 odd years ago, opposite my house was a small little forest. So every now and then I would just go there to play with the mud and the leaves and stuff like this. Then if we take 5 or 10 minutes drive away, which is Abisan, we usually go hiking there, which is beautiful sight. So you see the leaves, the light, the shadow, all falling onto the ground. But then recently this happened, which is deforestation, which is very sad because after this happened, many of the hikers couldn't hike, and of course the flora and fauna are destroyed because of this. This is due to commercialization of the entire land, which is Suki Highway that you can see now. So Suki Highway, to me, I think is a very ugly highway, although it helps with the cars, because there are a lot of unused space. So you can see like below the highway, all these are like a lot of unused space, and of course the main concern is of course this area, a lot of bald land, the loss of places or habitats for the animals and stuff. So imagine someone just come to your house one day and just demolish your house and you're left alone. So it's a very sad thing to see that due to modernization, urbanization happening. Fortunately, every Chinese New Year, I'll go back to Johor. So this is right outside my grandfather's house, which is Bukit Mertajam. We usually hike there we go there for 3 days. We hike 2 days. So it's good to get away from the city and just immerse ourselves in the greenery and park. Then this happened in 2010, where I furthered my study I was fortunate to further my study in Sydney, Australia, entering a bachelor in 2010 and completing all the way to my master's in 2014. So Sydney is a very beautiful place, and it has a special place in my heart because I was there for 5 years. Almost every weekend we will spend some time looking at this beloved icon. So a little bit of story about this, to never give up in life. It's when they had a competition. Oh, hi, Akidali. When they had a competition for this Sydney Opera House, the shortlisted entries were selected from the juries. Then came one prominent architect, Eero Saarinen, who picked up this design from the trash, and eventually it was built. So that's the moral of the story. I mean, too fast, but never give up in life. So every weekend we also go to this place, which is Hyde Park, in the middle of Sydney, just to have a picnic or stay under the tree, just to get away from assignments and stuff like this. I'm sure you guys know, because there are a lot of assignments from the lecturers. So I was quite lucky. This is me in second year, although slightly younger than now. Yeah, slightly younger. A bit of black hair then. So this is second year. We just finished a lecture by Pritzker Prize winner Glenn Murdoch. He's the only one from Australia that won the Pritzker Prize. So it was quite an inspiring lecture that he gave. And subsequently, the next year after that, we were quite fortunate to enroll in the studio, because he only taught at my uni for 5 years, so I was his 4th year, almost there, before he moved on. And this was our 3rd year site, which is in a park in Gunung, New South Wales. It is quite far away. I would say it's probably like 8 hours away from Sydney. And it was just a bare, barren land. It was very cold, so we had to set up tents there just to camp, just observe the site. But it was a very good experience overall. It was quite cool, and this is what you can see. And this was a 3rd year that we were lucky to go through some of his thoughts and stuff like this. So you can see here he was sketching while I was just peeping over my friend's shoulder. Haha, lousy design. No, anyway, if you missed out the talk, I gave a talk. Thank you for inviting me last time at back in 2021, which is almost 3 years ago. So in that talk I gave, it was solely on this project. So if you are interested, you can review it. Okay, we're starting to build up. So that was my background. And back in 3rd year, a very good book was introduced to me by Glenn Method. It's titled Architecture Without Architects by Bernard Rudolfsky. So this book was actually published after the exhibition in Museum of Modern Art way back in 1964. So it's actually almost 60 years ago. So what the Bernard coined here was the term non-pedagogic architecture. So what does it mean? I know it's a bit technical word here, but what does it mean by non-pedagogic architecture? So essentially, it is an architecture produced not by specialists, so not by trained personnel like you, like me, like everyone here. They don't have formal education, but it's actually constructed by spontaneous and continuing activity of whole community people. So essentially, it's like kampung people building their own house without any technical knowledge, and they progress from there on. So I've included a few slides that might spark some imagination and stuff like this. All these pictures are from the book, so if it is a good book, so highly recommend you to go through and read it. You can see like picture on the left here is actually a place in Tunku, China, where the people live underground. This is because their climate and the food and etc. This is also in China, where there's a aquatic habitation happening around the Huangpu River, and this is in Mongolia, which is the Tan architecture. So you can see like these 3 images, despite being in 1 or 2 countries, is quite different, because they're all governed by the way of living, the climate, and the culture. More pictures. So we move on to another continent. This is in Africa. So Africa, you can see like the tent-like structure here with the shadow. And this is in Zanzibar, Tanzania, and this is Morocco. So you can see like different location has different way of living and different way of doing things. Moving on to the Oceania part, this is Mount Clarence. So they built. So actually, this is actually a kampung house with really high stilts. So the stilts is actually higher than some of the trees here. So they are literally living in the air. And this is my place in New Guinea. So this is actually like an exhibition or a community space where they built everything entirely out of stilts and stuff like this. And this is actually, if I'm not mistaken, this is a palace in Solomon Islands where they had a corridor space. So coming closer to home, which is Vietnam, you can see like these images are included here. Like, it's a different kind of architecture where it's more like a movable architecture, so they can move around, just putting the roof over their head and you're off. And some of them are like just on stilts and stuff like that. So different areas have different architecture done by community to suit the local condition. So how does this relate to placemaking? So I try to think we can sum it up by placemaking is influenced by 3 things. First one is community, second one is climate, and third one is culture. So it's the people, place, and the weather in short. Out of these three, today I would like to focus on one, which is more towards the climate, because I think in recent times we are very concerned about climate, and most of my works have been related to the climate because we are in a very unique location. So I'm sure everyone knows we are situated along the equator line, and we are here. Yeah, slightly above. So we're quite blessed to have a constant sun and rain in this region, rather than summer, winter, spring, autumn kind of weather, which means you need to spend more money to buy more clothes, because you need three kinds of clothes: the summer clothes, the spring and autumn clothes, and the winter clothing. So we're quite lucky to just buy a t-shirt. We're done. Okay. So in our equator, this area, we are blessed with a lot of tropical forests. Yeah. So this is one of the images that you can see happening in the Borneo Island there. But in recent times, deforestation occurred due to development. Even in Sabah, Sarawak, it happens a lot. Interesting to find that this is a research done from 2000 to 2012. Our small country contributes one of the biggest deforestation for, also known as the forest loss. So it's 14.4% as compared to other countries in the world. So it's quite an alarming figure. So this is what happens to a land when deforestation happens. So this is what you see, but the effect of it is another item. So deforestation leads to increase in global temperature. This is data statistics by CNN. You can see like over recently, the global temperature has been increasing tremendously, which is reaching the high points here. Why is it? How does it affect us? I mean, we are in an aircon room. The climate is increasing. Why does it matter to us? And last year it was a record high. This is a very nice graphic by CNN, which shows that the air surface temperature, which our region is increasing by around 1 to 2 degrees. You guys feel a bit hot during the lunchtime and stuff, so that's why you hide in the aircon room. Yeah, and so when we are here, this small region, which is here, after the climate change gets hotter and hotter, it melts the ice, whether it's Antarctica or the other side. And when it melts the ice, we get more water content within the atmosphere. You might think, what does it matter? Just the water content, the climate will do itself. Just settle it. But as we go further, just to know that the Earth was 1.48 degrees warmer than the pre-industrial times. So this translates to what happens if it increases by just 2 degrees. So it's another half a degree left. Yeah. I think more recently you can see some of these happening throughout the country or throughout the region. So the first thing, of course, is where there's more water content, flood happens. When flood happens, it destroys the habitation of or location of the place. More pictures of this. Yeah. So even school gets damaged. So recently I gave a talk in Johor. This PIVG lady. After I gave a talk, because I thought suppliers, they just listen and that's about it, just to entertain me, fine. So after the talk, she approached me, she was like, I think climate change is real. Okay, why do you say so? Because the drain in my school cannot cater for the rainfall anymore, and it floods non-stop every day when it rains. So I'm like, oh, okay, this my talk makes sense, and it is really. So then she was like, can I call you when I see the headmaster? I was like, sure, if you need any help, just call me. So so she went on and told the headmaster about this. The reason is because back in the 80s or the 70s, when we designed the drain, we catered for that kind of weather, which is maybe like 150 or 200 degrees. So, but nowadays we need a deeper drain to cater for the discharge of the rainwater because of the increase of volume. Yeah, so this is smoke 2 or 3 years ago, there was a heavy haze around the nation that you get 1 or 2 days off from university, maybe. Yeah. Nicer pictures. And also, apart from the flood, the fire, haze, it also caused food security issue. So some of the paddy fields are unable to grow and stuff. So that leads to a loss of income, a household income. So it's almost like a circular effect towards the entire population. And more recently, I'm not sure if you read the news. So this happened in May this year. So is climate change making turbulence worse? So due to this event, Singapore Airlines, the flight from London to Singapore, I think one British passed away because of air turbulence. So air turbulence is due to the climate change. There are more water content in the sky atmosphere. So what can we do as designers to change or save the environment? So for me, I love designing sustainably, whether it's using recycled materials, thinking through just to reduce the negative impact on the environment. So just the last few slides before I go into the projects. Sustainable, when I Googled sustainable, this came up, which is a very long jargon, too many words for me. So I simplify it into 3 words. So sustainable is sustain-able. So it's, in short, it's able to sustain. What does it mean by able to sustain? Means, it can be renewable, replenished at any given time. Yeah? So today, I'll take this theory of knowledge and test it and experiment it in 3 different contexts. The first one is architecture. The second one is public spaces, and the third one is, of course, installations. So before I go on to the project, may I know how many of you are architecture based or stuff like this, just so I can cater my language to the crowd. How many of you are architecture? Anyone? Okay. How about ID? Yeah, some of them are here, very familiar faces. How about designer? Oh, designer, just me. Anyway, we'll proceed with architecture first. So architecture, I would like to share 2 projects. Both of them are unfortunately unbuilt, so it's just ideas in my head that I would like to share with you guys. The built one, you can just Google, it's in the city, it's very nice, it won some award. So, but we're more concerned about the ideas for today. So the first one is, some of them will know, it's Pasar Awam, Bukit Mertajam, which is a competition organized by PAN last year. So when we started, the site was Pasar Awam Bukit Mertajam, and the criteria was to create an inviting market for the community around the Penangans community. So you can see this is our site here, dotted in red. It's flanked by a beautiful road connection in a very densely populated area. Opposite here was it's almost like a green park area here. So some of the pictures taken from site or given to us. This is the main entrance here, where you can see there's a staircase here. 2 or 3 years ago, there was a fire that happened, so they had to close this down, and that's where the design comes in. So our site was this perimeter here. Okay, you can see like there are a lot of metal deck roof, which is just makeshift space. This is the back view. So the back view, there's a road here that leads towards this project. So the project is actually like a T site. What I mean by T site is like this direction. So we have a massive width of frontage to play with here. More pictures. This is the main staircase leading up. The interior doesn't look pleasing for now. It's a wet market, very close, dingy, and doesn't smell nice because lack of natural ventilation and stuff. So currently there are a lot of energy being used for the lights, the ventilation, and of course the mechanical aspect of the building. So more pictures on it. So you can see makeshift roof happening here and stuff like this. So Then our next question is, how do we design a market for the people? Yeah, because it's always very important that the people come first, followed by the context. And we started to look around for some inspirations, which is some of the roots and memory of how a pasar starts. This is the first image that came up, which is Pasar Malam. So if most of you have been there, I'm sure you've been there, you can get stuff like this. So the fabric of Pasar Malam is probably the unique point is probably the umbrella and the thoroughfare. So two things here, the umbrella and the thoroughfare, the circulation. And once we started walking around the site, we tend to realize that there are a lot of beautiful timber heritage houses here. I'm sure later your husband will know better than me on the heritage part. So a lot of timber louvers and stuff like this. Yeah, so you can see like up here there's happening louver windows, ventilation. Basically it's to enhance the idea of ventilation. So then we look at some of the trees, the canopy. And of course, Bukit Mertajam is named after Tajam, which is a sharp. Mountains here. Yeah. This is a short video. Here. So we need a bit of grill. Okay, that's a short video of it, but I'll explain further. So these are the design requirements that is required by the organizer. So of course the fish, the beef, the chicken, etc. I will not go into the technical requirements now. So what we did, we had to think about how do we place the friendlier retails, the general goods in the middle, and of course ranking by the meats at the side, the wet items. So this is a simple diagram. Hopefully I can explain this. So this is the existing building that you can see. Then what we did was we tried to facelift it because the current building had a staircase in front which blocks the entire frontage circulation. So we had to remove it and we straightened the entire clean on the ground, the floor plates, remove all the unwanted fenestration. So that allows us to create a circulation, a very direct circulation, thoroughfare throughout the market. These are the 48 stalls that we can feed in, 48 for each mess. Then we, of course, want to symbolize the Mertajam part, so we decided to go for pitch roof. And in Malaysia, when the area is uncovered, you need an umbrella to go through, which is very inconvenient. So we decided to extend the roof plate following the dimensions of these. So it creates an undulating roof scape. This is the exploded exonometry, and this is how it sits within the context. If we look at the elevation, it looks like this. So just to touch on a bit, some of the timber materials, we try to salvage it from the site and create as a fenestration. So you can see this whole thing is like a very big canopy that welcomes people, whether it's from this or this road. And this is the elevation that I said just now, which have a very good opportunity on a large frontage for it. This is how it looks like from the road, and this is the interior of it. So what we did was we tried to create a very open space in the market that does not require much mechanical input. Yeah, ventilation, the light, stuff like this. So all these are natural light and stuff like this. Okay, so the lesson from here that we got was we try to use salvage wood and to interpret the undulating landscape for Bukit Mertajam to give this market a sense of place and identity to it. Right. The next one is also done by some of my friends here. The next project is reviving Plaza Rakyat. So this is a land architecture category competition 2023. Unfortunately, we did not win again, but we know we will not win. I'll tell you why. So the site is we are allowed to select any site that we want, and the criteria was to create a skyscraper and high-rise, and the style was Malaysian identity. So these three are a very vague brief given to us. So we thought like, okay, we have three different questions to ask ourselves on how to design. So the first question is which site do we choose or do we select? So do we choose a new site or do we choose an existing site or do we choose, whatever? Okay, so I got the inspiration when I was high school. Every day I take the star line from Pasir Selatan to Sentul, because my school is in Sentul. Yeah, and every day I'll pass through one full site, that's a nice word, which is Plaza Raya. How many of you have been to Plaza Raya? Okay, take more trains then. Sustainable, guys. So every time I look up the train carriage, I see this Plaza Raya, which has been unbuilt or left abandoned for many years, maybe older than you guys. Slightly younger than me, but slightly older than you guys. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so this is the site that we chose. The other criteria that we wanted was a transit-oriented site. What it means by transit-oriented is like that site is next to public transport. So in this case, the site was next to a train station. So that was what we think we want. Okay. So this was the site, how it looks like. I'm sure if you Google, there are many pictures of this. You can see that it is left abandoned. This is the Starline train station that it goes through. It's almost like Gotham City. It's left untreated. Yeah. So all these slabs are there. It's just grey, ugly, right smack in the middle of the city. Then you can see a beautiful this PRX here, Berjaya Times Square, and the main road here. Opposite there's a hospital, it's a Tunku hospital. So this big site was left abandoned in the middle of KL. So what better way that we thought, okay, why don't we challenge ourselves to make this a better place for the people, community, and of course the site. During COVID, this happened. So nature takes over during COVID. So you can see like all these slab that is left there, it creates a beautiful pond. Yeah. So if you leave the architecture to Malaysia, you take a look. And some of the greeneries here. So this is a beautiful school here. Stella Maris, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Stella Maris, and there's a Wesley Methodist church there. So this is the train station here. You can see the tracks run through, coming from Pasir Selatan, going to Sentul. Okay, so that was our site. So the first question settled. That is a very big challenge. Second question that we asked ourselves, do we need another high-rise? Because the criteria was a high-rise. Then we started looking, do we really need a high-rise? We started doing more research. So in KL City, there are more than 170 skyscrapers as of 2020. So I think within these 4 years, the number should have increased. So despite having so many, we are ranked 8th tallest city in the world, number 8. So we beat some of the other nations. But we find our economy languishing. So in terms of world economy, we are only number 36, despite number 8 for having the number of skyscrapers. So what's happening here? So there are few issues that creep up here. So the subpar living conditions, the economic empowerment, and of course the abandoned project. So this creates a very unique opportunity for us to intervene with our architecture. So, okay, this project was conceived in July last year, and 1 year later, hey, our Prime Minister said we don't really need any more skyscrapers. So sometimes we are ahead of him by 1 year. So yeah, no more skyscrapers for a while. So we That's why we did not win the competition. So we do not want a skyscraper, which go against the brief, but it's all right. It's just for ideas and testing out some concept. The third question we ask ourselves is how do we incorporate Malaysian identity? So when you Google Malaysian identity, these images always pop up: the Twin Tower, KL Tower, the Wow, the Rafflesia, the Hibiscus, etc. But if you Google architecture, it usually pops up this: the Kampung Malay house, the ornaments, the timber house, the stilts and stuff like this. So we thought, like, how do we do away with all these preconception view of Malaysian identity? So we decided to, why don't we look at how we celebrate our forest, which is a tropical forest within ourselves. So we try to integrate the timber nature into our design. Try to bring back some of the flora and fauna, although some are smaller species, just insects, bugs and stuff like this, back to our site. So a short video, 1 minute. That was a short video. It's on our company page, Instagram, if you want to have a look. Okay, so I'll just briefly go through. So the site history of this and the environment impact it had. So this site was abandoned for 11,577 days. So it's close to 30 odd years. And once you leave a site abandoned, it creates carbon emission. So this carbon emission for the last 30 years created approximately 18,900,000 kilograms of carbon dioxide. So how do we carbon sequence against this amount? What we did was we think that we should plant trees to reduce the carbon nature. So we managed to plant the trees, 756,000 trees, plus 94,000 square meters of land. We are able to reverse the damage done to our environment. These are some of the landscape proposed for carbon sequestration, some of the diagrams. So the reason is we did not go for this, okay, but it's alright. So what we think, like, we should fit the tower this side to create a very humanistic scale kind of architecture. So a humanistic scale, if you go to like the European city like Amsterdam and stuff like this, most of their buildings is just 5 or 6 stories, which is good because you can maintain the visual connection to the highest floor. So what we did was we flipped the building the other side, elevate it to create a bit of public connection on the ground, and we try to suit the site to create some vantage point of views, and of course drawing from a bit of the Malaysian timber houses. We lift it up off the ground, so it creates a very airy feeling. Some of the programs that we think it can be used here, useful programs, whether it's connection to the site, connection to transport hub, connection to churches and schools. So it creates a social event, wellness, art and culture, and of course innovation hub, etc. This is the facade that we try to design. Technical part will resolve it within the project, but it's made up, it's actually a planter box arranged vertically that will incorporate native flora, which will subsequently bring native fauna back. So all the insects, the birds, everything will come back. Yeah? and of course using a recycled timber from the site. So this is how it looks like when it's hopefully gets built one day. You never know. It's almost like a green oasis within the city. Yeah. So you can see some of the ones that were here. We try to retain it, make a waterfall maybe perhaps, and try to clean up the environment. You can see this is the interior view of the building. We created like three stories up, but we emphasize on the interplay between the solid and the void. So it's very airy all the time, and there's daylight coming in all the time. The program is very flexible because to cater for the future use of some of the leftover concrete, we just try to mold it into a skate park. Because skate park is getting very popular nowadays. There's one in Ampang Park, which at night it really comes to life. So we try to bring this part of life. And this is the ground plane. We created like a very retreat forest within the ground plane. Some cafe. Yeah. So the moral of the story or the takeaway is like from an abandoned step, we try to create a green lungs that revitalizes the social economic aspect of KL. Okay, so architecture students, that's it for now. Go back now. No, the next one is public space. Public spaces. So public spaces, it's we try to do a bit of sometimes we do CSR, sometimes we do installation just to revitalize the entire place or to bring up the identity of the place. The first project is in Johor Bahru. It's a competition that we did not win first prize, but we won second prize. Okay. Finally, we won something already. Okay, then we start already. So this one was a competition organized by the Landscape Department of Malaysia, ILAM. The idea is to create a sculpture that brings the community together and celebrate the place. So the site given was right at the Laman Merdeka here, which is in the middle of Johor Bahru. You can see like there are a lot of high-rise and development recently in JB due to influx of Singaporeans due to the Sing dollar and of course a lot of China investment. So most of the time if you drive down JB you see all these, the high-rise and stuff like this. So there's no more like local memories or identity left to look around or to feel. So, and this was given by the organizer that they wanted the theme to be Heritage Symphony, meaning that they want to bring back some of the cultural heritage of JB. And these are the sculpture examples that they gave us. So we thought, okay, maybe we can use this as reference. But then we started researching how did Johor, especially JB, started. We found that it was actually a fishing village. This is Kampung Melayu, if I'm not mistaken. So in JB, it used to be a fishing village, and these are more pictures of it. So we try to think like, how does it? We try to relate how to do a sculpture that is celebrates the rich fishing heritage of JB. Okay, so this was the initial sketch that we had in mind. Meaning, because like, okay, if you Google fish farm, you can see like all the black ants above. So actually, I just Googled it 2 days ago and found, okay, my skin it looks like a fish farm. So this was a sketch that we did. We try to make the space as flexible as possible, whereby people can sit at the net. When there's exhibition, it removes. And when there's a gathering, or when there's a seminar, it's designed to be slightly more flexible. And how do we celebrate the what we call the sound, the heritage symphony? Symphony means sound in English, and we managed to capture some of the symphony of nature, which is the conversation, the rain, the rustle of leaves, whisper, and rest. So all these are TV. So if you keep silent, then you can hear it. That's 60 dB. It's raining outside, you can hear better. So this is a simple exo. And this is how it looks like from the lake. vertical seating. This is during the night time. And some of the takeaway message was to revive the heritage and memories of the place. Because like in recent times, you know, the high-rise is there. This is a short video. Although we did not win this competition, but I think there's a takeaway from this, which we were successful. We managed to implement it in Architects. This is another exhibition installation I did in Architects. So it's just the undulating ceiling that happened here. You can see the ceiling. After losing 3 rounds, the lamb, the pan, this Johor Baru, this one we finally managed to win first prize. Give you a clap again. So this was another competition that we entered, and we managed to win first prize. This is for Majlis Bandaraya Iskandar Putri. The title is Ocean Glow. So the site given to us was a beautiful site. It is facing Singapore. Yeah, it's a bay facing Singapore. So when you face Singapore, you see all these large cargo ships passing through. And the idea or some of the images given to us were this, which is they wanted to celebrate marine bioluminescence, which is to highlight the marine life in the sea. Whether it's 3 different depths, whether it's the sunlight, the twilight, or the aquatic. Then we started looking at more environmental issues before we start the project. So this is a poor little tortoise or turtle that is trapped in the net, yeah, and of course it kills off marine life. This is another image of it where plastic destroys the marine life. So I did a bit of research. It's interesting to note that 50% of the ocean plastic is fishing nets, not the straw. So we need to be mindful of that. And a bit of inspiration just to know what is marine bioluminescence. So we look at some of the glows and stuff like that. And some of the materials that we thought we can use is the fishing net that creates. So this is an initial sketch that we did. So we wanted the space to flow above the people. And of course, when you walk around, it creates a different volume above happening above your head. Exonometric, the view. And this is how it looks like during the daytime. When you walk around, it creates a different angular perspective. Nighttime, and when you have a close-up, it looks like this. So from this, we learned that sustainable sculpture reduces ghost netting, that's the keyword, and it preserves marine life and maintains the balance of ecosystem. So it's very important to think about the materials that we use. How do we want to showcase to the people or public? So that is more like a raising environmental awareness. So the next project, I think there are 3 more, so bear with me, we're almost done. The next one for the public space is, recently we just won a commission from DBKL to do a park enhancement project. So this is in line with the UIA Impact Project by PAM and DBKL. UIA is the International Architects of the World, and we managed to secure this. So this project site was, how many of you studied Sunjin or Tunku Primary School? So this is Lock U here, yeah, and Sunjin is somewhere here, Stadium Reka. So they wanted to enhance the area of Pudu. And we started looking at what is Pudu actually. So Pudu started as a Chinese community where there are a lot of commerce and community gathering space. And when we zoomed out, this is our site here. So you can see the different perspective, whether it's approaching from the front, the side, and the other side, which essentially is just a road curve. But when UIA comes to town, they want to leave a significant impact after the conference, which is going to be held in November. Okay. Yeah, so this is how it looks like at night. I don't know why we went to site visit at night. And you can see like there are different atmosphere, low-cost housing, and this Tunku is there. There are two actually. Yeah. So we started analyzing during the daytime what is special and how do we bring the thing back. So you can see a big ficus tree here. Unfortunately, it was cut down after we proposed. Yes, because they mentioned the tree down the road 2 weeks ago fell and killed someone, so they had to cut it. So we had to change our design for another round. So unfortunately, this tree is gone. And you can see like they're quite interesting potted plants, which is almost like a community herb garden for the people around, and the shrine around here and sitting around. So they wanted some gathering space. And the officer mentioned to us this is actually a Tai Chi space for the community. Yeah, really, Tai Chi space. So they exercise around here. So we think like, okay, maybe time to create some public space there to enhance the entire community. So we started thinking about our concept. Our concept is like the collective collage of Pudu community. So Pudu is very famous for the food there. There's the oldest restaurant, Chinese restaurant using charcoal cook. And of course, there are a lot of street food and stuff like that. So we thought like, okay, maybe we can do a collage of something to make it more interesting. How do we translate it into design? It's we try to create a park, a community garden, plus a herb garden, and by using different colors to create a more impactful idea. This is a very simple sketch. Although it's a very small project, but it's an impact project. So this is the entire site that we had. We wanted to create like a very good connection from the front, and of course the connection from the side here. So we create like a pocket parks and platforms, sitting areas. So you can see different dimensions, whether it's sitting or standing, whether it's a table as well. This is exonometric of how it looks like, and some of the description of exonometric. So you can see like herb garden happens here. So what we introduced was a pixelated colors for the pavement. We decided to go with blue because the area is very busy, very noisy and stuff like this. With a bit of orange just to create a bit of happiness in the area. And planter box with street furniture, using plants as privacy, etc. Okay. So this was actually option 2 where the ficus tree was gone. The first one we actually wrapped around the ficus tree, but okay, that's life. This is how it looks like aerial view. Yeah, so you can see the pixelated arrangement happening. This is another entrance close up. So you can see like sitting area here. And this one we create like whether it's sitting, the dog or cat, you can see it, table, stand, a bit of planter for their herb garden. So it feels very connected to the site. They also can do Tai Chi at the front there. So the moral of the story is we try to create a garden enclave for the community to promote a sense of place and neighborhood for the people of Pudu. But I got to know that most of the people staying there are actually Burmese and foreign workers. So I don't know how they will use the space or change the space. Okay, so the last segment of my presentation today is about installation. Installation for me, I think, is the best platform to instill or test ideas without spending too much money. So in this segment, I have 4 projects to share. 2 are under KLAF, which is Kuala Lumpur Architectural Festival, and the other 2 is for exhibitions, commercial exhibitions. So the first one that I would like to share, okay, sorry, going back to this, so two of our entries were selected to implement. The first project is a timber installation. We had 2 submissions that were chosen, but unfortunately none were built because of funding issue. So this pavilion, if you need to know, it cost 30,000 to build, and the organizer does not provide any fund for us. So we have to look around, but we didn't. Anyway, the theme for this year was space, time, and meaning. So what does it mean with these big words? So in short, it means that this festival tries to remind architects and the related community about what we need to find meaning in everything that we do, okay, making architecture relevant to the human and to the community. So the site event was a beautiful lake in Kuala Lumpur, Wangsa Lake, which is right smack in the city. And this is the views that you get. So you get the high-rise juxtaposed against the greenery and some of the the sitting area, resting area. So it's a very serene site. Then we started looking around for ideas and inspiration. I think this is very popular among students, this kind of site, which is Kampung Baru, if I'm not mistaken. So Kampung Baru is a very interesting, unique place in KL, whereby you still can see some of the kampung houses against some of the high-rises. So it's actually like a contradiction happening. So this fascinates us, and we're thinking like, how do we want to revive some of this and bring it back for the people, so it creates a bit of meaning to the space. So we started looking at exo or typical Malay house. So you can see like timber are usually used for the structure, the beams, the joists and stuff like that. So this is a skeleton of a Malay house. Yeah. And we thought like, okay, due to rapid modernization, these timber houses are being replaced by typical concrete and brick houses. So these are the discarded waste timbers that are left to rot and stuff like this. So we thought, okay, then we started sketching or diagramming. This is the size given to us, which is quite small. Maybe it's like a meter square, so it's like 3 or 2.5 by something. So this is like a typical, we started with a square and how we proportion the human and how it frames if you just have a very simple timber frame around the pavilion. And then we started thinking, maybe we can use more timbers. So this is how it looks like if we arrange it vertically. So when we arrange it vertically, this is the view that you'll get from within. So it sort of like distorts and creates a new relationship with the surrounding. And what happens if you arrange it horizontally? And this is what you get. So in terms of section, it creates a very interesting refuge and prospect space for different volumetric space as you move through the pavilion. And it creates a very pixelated view of the surrounding. So it creates a new perception of the space or lake, Titi Wangsa Lake. This is the axonometric, so shows that the pavilion sits among the nature. The walls are porous to allow natural elements to pass through, such as the rain, the wind, etc., while maintaining visual connection to the surrounding. Yeah, exploded axonometric, so you can see how we construct this thing. The ceiling, there's timber, the frame, the steel cable, and of course the timber strips just suspended. This is how it looks like at night. Yeah, it almost glows like a lantern from within. So it casts a beautiful shadow around. So we thought like, okay, maybe this the timber on the ceiling can act as a sundial. If you know what's a sundial, last time you put a sundial under the sun, you can tell what time it is. So this one moves with the time and the wind. So you can see as the wind moves, the timber will move also. So the lesson from this is we try to preserve the memory and history of the city by reusing and reassembling these post timbers. Okay, three more to go before I conclude. Okay, this one we were also selected. This one we played with clay tiles. So clay tiles was commonly used to construct houses back in the 1960s, up to recently. But then it gets replaced by technology, which is metal deck roof. Then it creates a lot of discarded clay tiles and left waste. So we thought, okay, maybe let's play with this material. So we started experimenting how a cabinet should look like and feel. It's the same idea. But this one we are constructing out of steel. Started with a simple box. Then if we arrange it vertically, we will create this kind of distorted images. And if we arrange it horizontally, we will get different kind of images to it. So finally we decided to arrange it horizontally. And we try to create a bit of a water feature to create reflection and we pass through. Exploded axonometric of this. Distorted view. You can see the water trying to reflect the surrounding. This is a bit of shadow. So it's interesting to note that if you treat a clay tile well, like your road, it can last up to 100 years. Yeah, so it will outlive all of us here. Okay. So that's the takeaway from this. Okay, now I finished the two installations. This is the last two before I conclude my lecture. So this was installation Reked's interior exhibition last year. It's called Whisper of Timber. So the people whispered to me for something like this. Anyway, last year October, we were invited by MID to curate one of the Reked's exhibition booth. So I was quite fortunate to team up with Lumberman, who is a timber furniture company. So we were tasked to design installation, but it's on a very small site. It's only 9 square meters or 100 square feet. This size, okay? Yeah. So during the first meeting, the client showed me this image on the left. So I asked them what they want to do. So they told me, hey, just bend the timber. That's it. So like, okay, that's a very simple bending timber. So you bend it at the toilet to, so the water don't stagnate here. So it creates a very nice. So this is the start of the inspiration. Then they asked me to choose whatever timber that you want. So then we will just apply it. So this timber was actually just a 3 or 4 millimeter thick. So it's easy to bend, but it's easy to break as well. So it's very challenging technically. This timber is a white oak wood, which is it's not local wood. Then we started to look for inspiration and thought, if a timber was to bend, maybe it needs to follow the laws of proportion. That is why we started looking at this picture, which is the golden ratio diagram. So if you are an architect or interior designer student, I guess you need to go through this proportion lesson in university. So we found that in order to create a perfect proportion and harmony, usually it always involves the golden ratio. So just for information, you can superimpose this golden ratio to any natural element, such as the leaves, butterfly, insects, the waves, the sky, etc. Most of the time, it sits within this proportion. If you don't believe, you can search it up. Okay? So the idea is to create a perfect golden ratio dimension. Then we thought, what's the most beautiful picture on earth? The Mona Lisa picture. Anyway, it's painted by Leonardo da Vinci, who is very famous for his theory of proportion. So we noticed that each proportion is in perfect harmony. 1 is to 1.618. So we particularly look at, when you want to look at a person, you look them into the eye. So the eye is the window to the soul. So we started looking at her eyes, zooming in how eyes, the shape, everything. And we started thinking and exploring in terms of the bending. So this is my fingers, or how my friend's fingers here. Started bending some shape to hopefully fit inside the golden ratio proportion. It's very important, because one of the books that was introduced introduced by Glenn, which is my lecturer last time, was the Thinking Handbook by Uliani Palasma. So in the book, he mentioned that it's very important to involve the mind and the hand during the design process. So we always put the computer one side and we started sketching and folding papers and making things. I think architecture is, or idea is the making of things, making of a space, making of how does the material come together. So we started exploring the form, blending of papers, and this is a very simple sketch of the side. So you can see the side is actually triangular shape. 6 meters, 6 meters, this is, if you know Pythagoras theorem, this is one of the dimensions. So then we started analyzing, this side was actually far end of the exhibition hall. Then we thought, like, how do we attract people to come to us because we are like located right at the corner. On this side is actually the Riggs Town Hall, where a lot of people gather. We're almost like 10 meters away from them. So we needed to create something unique to attract people. So this is the primary circulation, and this is the secondary circulation. So the diagonal view of the pavilion is very important. So that sets up this wall should be the main feature of the pavilion. And this can act as a gathering space for the exhibitor or the visitors or the users. So we started looking at Mona Lisa's eye, remember? So this is one of the eye here. We need to glue it together, we need to bend the timber. And we had to create like more than 10 molds to fit this timber. So it's like a very long string of timber, and it broke quite often. So actually the client was, not to say angry, but they were quite frustrated. Why don't you design something easier? But if you want something nice, you need to push the boundary. So lucky they took my advice. And so this is how it looks like, the mold. They had to build this mold. It's at least 3 meter high, 3 meter length mold, and put it in one row. So there are a lot of breakages along. You can see breakages along the way, so you have to waste. I want to say waste a lot of timber. You have to try, experiment, and keep going. And this is how it looks like in the mock-up. So this one was, the dimension was a bit wrong because it's a bit too large. I felt the board was a bit too large. So we had to tweak a bit of the design in there. This is during one of the mock-up, the testing of it. What happens if you put it on the ceiling? How does the light affect the shadow when it casts on the ground? So actually, because we wanted to create like sort of like a forest shadow cast beautifully on the ground, so people can just get lost within the installation. Yeah, but this was a bit different from the actual because it's only like 1 meter. The actual is like 4 meters, so we couldn't really get the idea out. This was the entire process of how we did the wall of the entire pavilion. So you can see from a factory visit, first factory visit to mock-up of testing of the panels to one-to-one in the factory. Then we have to assemble and fabricate the walls, and finally we install it in KLCC. You can see it's like this is the end of the exhibition hall already, so nobody goes there. And this is the final outcome of it. You can see we created like a portal effect where we try to invite people in, and this is the gallery space. I think this is the client wanted to put a table there, but for me, if it's empty, the better it is, so people can just appreciate the wall. Anyway, this is the impact wall that we were talking about, where the diagonal people will come, and the first thing they see is this wall. It continues up to the ceiling, and this one, the timber melts or falls into the ground perfectly. This is another view of it. I got a quite interesting compliment about this. So the past president of MIT, Idea Lai, mentioned this is a sexy installation. So compared to the next one I'm going to show you, so I was a bit disappointed because the latest one is not as sexy as this one. So okay, fine. Yeah, close-up shot of the curved timber panels. So you can see the lights we strategically placed it, whether it's 300 mm apart, so it gets to shine on the right height. We don't have to shine too high, so it's up to a certain height of 600 or 750, so it doesn't create a glare to the human or the people. Very beautiful light and shadow curvature. Sometimes it also creates a auto view towards inside. This was only when we done we realized we create a beautiful photo view. So you can see like some of the timbers here are a bit bent, but it's okay because it's a natural timber. So when we put this up, a lot of visitors came by and asked, "Oh, it's done by laminate." Then of course, when we told them it's done purely out of timber, most of them were stunned. Yeah, and creates a beautiful view. So this is a very short video. There's no music to this, so there's only people talking. Oh, sorry. This is the real life where it happens. So the termination of the ceiling was the tricky part. We were quite fortunate that YB Tuan Haji Akmal, who was the deputy KPKT minister, dropped by, along with some prominent MID past presidents and current president. So at the end of this installation, this booth was actually sold to another supplier opposite. So that really gives us, as a designer, a sense of fulfillment and achievement that, oh, okay, I actually can sell this thing, and people realize it. So that leads to the final project, which is the very recent completed Malaysian Timber Council exhibition booth for Architects 2024. So this one we managed to win the best curated booth out of 700 entries. So it was quite a challenge to beat 700 other people. And for this project, we were invited by Malaysian Timber Council, or called MTC, to pitch our design against another architect. Fortunately, we won this pitch, and our installation was implemented. So, you clap later. I will describe the design process, manufacturing journeys, and the final outcome. So, we started looking at what MTC has done over the years and how should we position ourselves. This is their installation throughout the years: 2012, 2013, 2015, 2017, and this was last year. So this one was quite interesting because it's done by a fellow architect, which is architect Anwar Saleh. He was inspired by the Chidori method of construction, the Japanese, where you can assemble wood without any nails and glue. Yeah. So these are the standards set by FTC. And our question is, how do we portray timber in a different perspective? Then another one of the client's brief was to reduce the entire installation after architect. So that creates another thinking process to us. So we try to design this pavilion to be in a modular system that can be separated into two and can be used in two concurrent places at once. We started looking at inspiration, and finally we settled for the Malaysian basket. So we look at different kind of Malaysian traditional art like songket, batik, etc., etc. Wow. And finally we came up, okay, maybe we should emulate this. So because we were fascinated about how this small object requires such precise detailing and weaving and the hand making of it. So the next step was to translate it into our design and how far we can push the timber as a material. Okay. Again, we started testing some of the ideas. So this is a balsa wood. So if you have a lot of leftover balsa wood, it's good to test. We soak it in water, and we finally managed to bend the top here to a certain degree, and try to fold the weaving part of it. And because this was a very short time frame project, we only had 1 month from design to installation. So it was really dense into So every day we have to liaise with the contractor on what's the perfect or ideal dimension to bend, and whether we can bend it to 4 meter high, up a range to 3,600 meter high. Okay. This is a simple floor plan. This is slightly bigger than the rigs installation. This is a 60 square meter. So it's 6 meter by 10 meter length. So the technical criteria are to put in the desk, the TV display, seating, and of course for people to see. So this is the main entrance that we identified, and secondary circulation. This was during one of the timber factory visit. So we had to test more than 10 different molds to get the right dimension, because there are 3 different dimensions to the entire installation. And you can see on the left here, this is the mold that they had to build, and this is the final outcome. So we had to assemble it in 3 different parts. So it's like a Lego set. Yeah. Because how do you transport it to site? How do you install it? How do you dismantle it? I mean, if you don't have to reduce, you can just whack the whole thing away. But you have to think about the modular dismantling part. This is during the mock-up, we had to determine the gaps between the weaving timbers. Had to be very precise, because at the top part we try to condense it. This is due to the try to balance between the openness and the privacy of the booth. And of course, it also acts as a bracing to the structure. Because imagine it's a 4 meter high structure, standalone, and 10 of these ribs. So we have to put them together and structurally be more stable. And we try to determine the lighting points to avoid the glares to the visitors, whether it's from the top to the face or the bottom. This is how it looks like, the final outcome. So you can see it's not so sexy as the last one, but this is slightly more challenging because of the structural standalone timber that you see. So this picture, if you can see, there are 10 structural ribs here. 10 of these is designed to be modular. So when you split the installation apart, it's actually 5 ribs, and it's 4 meter each. And we try to make it modular, so each rib is 1 meter apart. And interesting to note, it tapers from the bottom to the top to increase the diffusion effect. No, actually it's a structural loading impact. We had to reduce the top part for structural stability. So you can see the weaving starts from narrow and opens up towards the end here to create a visual connection, whether it's when you're standing or when you're sitting. This is another view of the installation as you approach. So we create an undulating landscape, so it reflects the Malaysia landscape to ranges from 4 meters to 3.6 meters. So you can see the light continues at every alternate rib here, and the weaving of it goes 2 meters apart. 1 meter, 1 meter, 1 meter. So it goes 1, 1. So you can see every 2 meters, the light completes the entire arc. How many of you visited this booth? Yeah, come on, hands up, hands up. Let me see. Alright, okay, majority of you haven't seen it. It's okay, don't worry, you didn't miss it because it will be reinstalled. If I'm not mistaken, it's Sunway Velocity next month and rigs in KLCC in October. But I don't think it will be, let's see the workmanship, whether it will be as nice as the starting one. So this is a bit of an internal and external perspective of the installation. You can see the structural ribs goes and some of the lights that we place. So this is the center point that we are going to chop it off 4 meters apart. We have abstract shot of the installation, how the timber plants are distributed to the structure. And this is a good friend of mine, or family friend. He's not looking. So he dropped by and gave me some of the useful tips. Thank you, Architect Lee. Okay, this is the final slide of mine. And hopefully it is, I'm not mistaken, 2 minutes long. Then I'll conclude my presentation for today. Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, thank you very much to Architect Esmail. I believe the presentation is very generous. Quite numbers of projects have been shared, which is, I believe, is aligned with what you guys are working on right now. That emphasis on the community project, installation for architecture year 1, and also, the exploration of materials. And each project has been discussed in details in terms of the design ideas and the whole design process. So, thank you very much. For the Q&A session, looking at the time, we can only accept 1 or 2 questions. Any question from the floor? But we are very fortunate. Architect Esmail is with us every week in my studio. So if you have any question, you can find him in my studio later on. Your studio. Okay, any question? Not for now. Alright. To conclude, I would like to invite Assistant Professor Dr. Noor Hayati to the stage to present the Certificate of Appreciation to Architect Esmail. can take group photos.